The story begins in a completely devastated setting. It looks like a city, a kind of metropolis, that is in utter ruin. Amid the wreckage, we see a weary man holding and strangling another person while beating them. The person on the ground starts laughing. Around them, there are more bodies. You're different from this other trash. Shut up and kill me now. You're the only one who deserves to kill me. It's not like that. I'm not going to be the one to kill you. He pulls the collar of the boy in the white shirt. I promised my comrades that I'd make you wait for your judgment. You're going to death row and will be judged according to the law. In the narration, our protagonist thinks, I deeply regret this. I should have killed him when I had the chance. The next day, the news was already reporting the greatest and worst villain of all had been captured. The reporter says, the villain Sungwon Huang, who terrorized the entire world, has been sentenced to death. Huang is currently wearing a power-limiting suit to contain him and is in Riculous Prison, where many supervillains are held. His cell is on the 5th underground floor of Riculous Prison. Additionally, for those who lost their lives fighting against Sungwon Huang alongside hero Gung Yuseo, a joint funeral will be held for the heroes of equality. We see the appearances of the heroes who lost their lives fighting the villain. Watching this is the same guy who captured the villain, and he's very nervous about it all. Someone appears with a remote control, turns off the TV, and calls out, Gongyu, why are you still watching TV if you're sick? Huh? We realize that he is one of the guardians of Riculous Prison. His name is Gango Seo. Gongyu think, this is my brother, Gango Seo, a guard at Riculous Prison. Oh, brother, that bastard Huang. I should have killed him with my own hands. Gongyu responds, have you forgotten the promise you made to your colleague? We see one of the heroines honored at the funeral say, the job of heroes is to save people. No matter how heinous the villain is, we mustn't kill them. They are also human and have the right to be judged by the law. And if we end up dead, promise me, no matter what happens, we must not kill anyone. Gongyu says, I agree with that. Only the law can judge people. Of course, we need the guardians to enforce the law. This is confidential, but Huang will be executed next week, and I will be part of it. You've done your job as a hero. Leave the final touch to us, the prison officers. So, let's go and say goodbye to your colleague. He extends his hand to Gongyu, and we see the tribute paid to the heroes. A week later, the day of Huang's execution arrived, but Gongyu's brother died. He cries, asking why the one who should have been judged by the law didn't die, but his brother, a prison officer, died instead. So far, we don't know the reason for his brother's death, but Gongyu is at the memorial paying his respects. Someone calls out to him, Seo Gongyu, it's been a long time. A blonde woman with 2 guards behind her appears. She is the prison director and says, can we talk for a moment? We move to another scene where they are in another room, and she hands him a tablet with a video on it. What is this? Gongyu asks. It's a video from today, of Huang's execution, she replies. And now we are in the scene from the video. We see Huang being escorted by the guards, the prison officers, and he starts making small talk with Gango, our protagonist's brother. He says, hey, you look a lot like Gongyu. Are you brothers? But Gango doesn't respond. Then Huang comments, it seems the other brother isn't as skilled. That's why you're working in the prison, right? Which one of you is the older brother? Gango remains silent, so Huang changes the subject and asks, and you, what do you feel after killing a person? Huh? This question makes Gango a bit more uneasy. Huang continues, you're a prison officer. You've killed people, haven't you? How do you feel? I feel a bit disappointed. Disappointed that with a little touch, they pop like soap bubbles. Gango hurries to open the room where Huang is to be executed, but ends up responding, even executing people like you, who don't even seem human, I feel a tremendous sense of guilt. I press a button and have nightmares. He remembers another prisoner he executed, who said that he too was a murderer, just like the prisoners he executes. Sometimes, they haunt me in my nightmares. Huang replies, and you continue working as a prison officer? Well, someone has to do it, right? I'm just doing my job. An officer gives the order, proceed with the execution of prisoner Sungwon Huang. Do you have any last words? Huang asks again, so, which one of you is the younger brother? The officer starts the countdown for the execution. 3, 2, 1. Just as he presses the button, the video abruptly ends. Gongyu is left stunned by this. At the moment Huang was about to be executed, there is a power outage. The first to realize something went wrong was Gango. The most accepted theory in the prison so far is that it was an attack by an infiltrator. Huang tears off the containment suit. I think he's the only one capable of killing me. Everyone, get down! A massive explosion occurs. Another guard grabs the radio and says, send reinforcements. The prisoner has broken free from the containment suit. I repeat, the prisoner has broken free from the containment suit. As he is saying this, Huang places a hand on his shoulder. When he touches the guard, his whole body swells up and gets covered in blisters. Huang just smiles and says, boom. The guard explodes into a spray of blood. Gango is completely traumatized by what he sees. Huang approaches Gango and says, I think you're the older brother, aren't you? Gango pulls out his baton and shouts, attack. But Huang completely twists his arm, causing him to scream and kneel in pain. I'm right, aren't I? Huang asks. Using his last bit of strength, Gango says, you need to be brought to justice. You need to be judged by the law, you monstrous bastard. With a simple wave of his hand, Huang completely destroys Gango's body, leaving only his uniform, specifically just the cap. Looks like I'll have to talk to Gongyu directly. The woman continues explaining to Ganyu. At that moment, Sungwon Huang and some mysterious accomplice attack, causing all the controls and suits that kept the death row prisoners restrained to be released. At least we managed to prevent them from escaping, but a significant number of officers are trapped along with the prisoners. Ganyu asks, who is responsible for the attack? That is still under investigation, Hero Ganyu. I apologize for making this request while you're at your brother's funeral, but can you put an end to the rebellion occurring at Ricula's prison? Of course I can, under one condition. We enter our protagonist's mind as he thinks. My work partner once told me that heroes must not kill people. Meanwhile, we see a massive rebellion, with lots of guys banging on the doors to open the prison cells, explosions happening, everyone fighting like crazy. A hero's job is not to take lives. And my brother, a prison officer, also told me that the prison doors open, the law must judge people. The doors are open, let's go. But when they try to leave, they are all thrown back at once. Prison officers are the ones who should execute them. The prisoners are in shock, like, who is this person? And we see someone, a prison officer, emerging from those doors. So, let me enter Ricula's prison, not as a hero, but as an officer. Nice to meet you, pieces of trash. I'm the prison officer, Ganyu Seo. Why is a hero wearing a prison officer's uniform? Anyway, I'm glad he's here. Kill him! The prisoners all rush at our protagonist, but as they charge towards him, he shows no reaction and just prepares a punch in their direction. When he unleashes the punch, he completely obliterates the one in front of him. His punch destroys everyone, dismembering many in the process. We see the remains of the prisoners' bodies, and all the other prisoners are terrified by Ganyu's power. Ganyu just straightens his uniform and says, listen up, pieces of trash. From now on, under government orders, starting from the first floor to the 5th underground level, we see some scenes of the different floors and what's happening on them. On the last floor is Huang. I will take on this task. Huang says, look at that, you're here. Let's begin the execution. The prisoners are outraged. Execution? Ah, stop talking crap. You, a hero, are going to kill people? Yeah, you've killed so many people. Do you think it's unfair for you to die, prisoner? A prisoner in the back shouts, hey, but I didn't kill that many people. My name is Helita, and I killed 12 people. Another says, I can count on my fingers. His name is Brooks. He killed 7 people. And the other called Cade says, I can do it with one hand. Murder and child kidnapping. And who is here to kill us? You? Where are your hero guidelines and human rights? Huh? Meanwhile, a prisoner named Choi Guwon is thinking, oh, how noisy. While he's distracted by the other prisoners, in an instant, he activates his ability, becoming very fast with lightning surrounding his body. Prisoners pass by our protagonist. I can make my escape, but it's too late. He only sees a sole of a foot coming towards his face and gets a massive kick. Is this guy really a hero? No one can withstand that kick. The prisoner falls flat. Ganyu tells the prisoners, I'll give you a choice. Calmly go back to your cells under control, awaiting your execution, or die now by my hands. This hero here seems more like a villain, but I like it. The prisoners are all scared now. A brave prisoner says, what is this guy talking about? Anyway, it's our last chance, right? We're going to die anyway. It's better to die rebelling. Don't you think the negotiation terms are a bit irrational in this situation? Ganyu responds, this is not a negotiation. What I can offer you now is mercy. Everyone thinks, wow, he's serious, he's going to kill everyone. Where is that hero of equality? One of the prisoners says, I'll use the control device. Another says, I will too. But meanwhile, that same prisoner is activating his ability and shouts, with something glowing in his mouth. All the prisoners look at him. Even if you are a hero of equality, there's no need to make a deal with just one man. I've already killed a tier 2 hero myself. We just need to work as a team. The prisoners get excited. If that's the case, there's no reason to be afraid. Let's kill him and gain our freedom again. But our protagonist just stares at them and says, you're back. We return to Seiyun-jo explaining the prison situation to Ganyu. She explains that Ricula's prison separates prisoners by danger level. On the first floor, there are those who killed several people. There are over 300 serial killers in there. On the first underground floor, there are 100 prisoners who single-handedly put an entire city at risk. On the second underground floor, there are 30 people who put metropolises in danger. On the third underground floor, there are those who put an entire nation at risk. On the fourth floor, there are those who endangered an entire continent. And on the fifth and final underground floor, there are 3 people, including Huang, who put the whole world at risk. She continues, it seems like a lot, but the number of people you'll have to deal with will be smaller than that. The prisoners are reducing their numbers themselves. Meanwhile, on the second underground floor, it looks like there are 2 twins using some kind of mind control ability on the other prisoners. They're saying, confess your sins. On the 5th underground floor, Huang is talking to another prisoner who is there, and it is explained that they are not that friendly. He says, wow, there was already someone on this floor? And the girl just stares at him. Well, can we spend some time together until Ganyu arrives? Seiyun-jo continues explaining, on the first floor, there is a unique person. There's an entire unit around this person here. She shows a paper to Ganyu. Listen, he has a special ability that strengthens the allies around him with the sound he makes. Ganyu says, you were in a hospital with 30 high school students and killed 7 people. Among those people, the the heroine Reyes, totaling 8 people. Hillison corrects, no, 10 people. At the time, she was pregnant with twins. Gongyu speaks into his radio. Chief, I think I'll have to use force. How strong is this person? Seiyun Jo responds, whatever you do, the prison won't collapse. I guarantee it. Gongyu turns off the radio and says, facing Hillison, then there's no need for me to hold back my strength. What a bluff. You're nothing but a hero of equality. You also captured Huang, didn't you? Caught him and threw him here using your buddies as bait, right? Well, I'll send you to where your comrades are now. Using his power to strengthen those around him, Hillison commanded, kill. The prisoners start to feel stronger, and one of them exclaims, I can feel my strength overflowing now. Hillison shouts, everyone, attack. The prisoners, now energized with this new strength, charge at Gongyu. With a simple kick, using a power that emits red lightning with black tones, Gongyu hits one of the prisoners, completely destroying his face. The other prisoners are struck by these rays, which tear through their flesh. Hillison, seeing all this, thinks, what the? When he sees most of the prisoners around him fallen, he asks, shocked, what was that? Gongyu prepares another kick, but this time he stomps on the ground with force, throwing all the surviving prisoners into the air. Meanwhile, a prisoner who had been quietly in his cell hears everything and thinks, scared, Gongyu. Hillison is screaming as he's hurled through the air. When he sees where Gongyu is, he becomes even more terrified. Gongyu is already preparing a punch in their direction, with his ability activated. His hand transforms into black claws. While all the prisoners try to use their abilities, Gongyu says, stop resisting. Survival is a skill. He then uses his ability with the large claws and says, globe of death. Several black rays pierce all the prisoners around him from where he stood to where they were thrown. Most of them are still conscious as they are torn apart. Hillison, even in his last moment, manages to say, no chance. Then, all of them fall dead, forming a rain of bodies over our protagonist. We see the mutilated bodies on the ground. First floor, execution complete. Moving to solitary confinement, Gongyu declares, how many people were killed in all this? Dozens? Hundreds? He wonders as he faces 2 prisoners. You have a choice and 2 options. Put on the disarmament device or die. One of the prisoners, very angry, charges at Gongyu, even with his hand transformed into a huge claw. With a simple lift of his foot, Gongyu decapitates the prisoner. He thinks to himself, there must be around 300 people on this first floor. The other prisoner, who wasn't decapitated, is very scared by what he saw and says, I'll put it on. I'll put on the device. Yes, sir. Please, give me one. Sensing the prisoner's deceit, Gongyu prepares himself. The prisoner invokes his magic and says, gotcha, sucker. He shoots a laser beam at Gongyu. Did you really think I'd do what you said, little hero? But when he realizes what actually happened, the prisoner becomes very confused and scared. This guy makes anyone crap their pants. Huh? Impossible. Try not to laugh. More like try not to crap your pants. He thinks back to the past, remembering a villain captured by one of his partners, Tomi, who said, people without physical abilities are really pathetic, aren't they? Because you'll never know how exhilarating it is to crush someone if you shoot them from afar. As Gongyu thinks, he already advances with his fist toward the prisoner. When he crushes the prisoner's head, he thinks to himself, is this ecstasy? No, it just feels like breaking eggs with my fist. With that, he moves on to his next destination. This time, he enters solitary confinement, where someone says, wow, it's really noisy out there, isn't it? How long has it been? 3 years? I knew you'd come here eventually. It's been a while, Hirosio Gongyu. His name is Cheekfielder, and his crimes were cannibalism and mutilation. Do you remember me, Gongyu? I thought you'd change jobs eventually, but your expression doesn't look too good. Now it's time for you to choose whether you want to die or not. If I had known we'd meet like this, you and your friends of equality, you know? He recalls the scene when they captured Cheek. He was there, bound by Tomi's chains, and Gongyu saw a pot with some human organ. Cheek said, doesn't it look delicious? Now you feel like killing someone. Ah, but you won't be able to anyway. Gongyu, enraged, invokes his power and says, I'm going to kill you. He already extends his fist toward Cheek, but the team leader shouts, Gongyu, don't do it. Gongyu stops and just stares at the other heroine, but he holds the grudge inside him. Cheek continues, look at your colleagues up there. They must be so disappointed. If you don't answer my question, I'll consider that you really want to die. Do you know why I killed them? Gongyu replies, I'm not interested in the least. He advances and cuts off Cheek's head, but the head keeps talking, because I wanted them to remember me. Suddenly, Cheek appears behind Gongyu in an illusion, and everything turns purple and pink. That's why I killed them, to become the most memorable person in their mind. When people die by my ability, they never forget me. We see several faces of Cheek multiplying in a mental torture. I implant my vision in their eyes. This is the ability of Cheekfielder. To prove it, I can show you the memories of everyone I've killed. Should I show each one of them? He starts to invoke one of his victims, but Gongyu cuts his arm in the air, and Cheek realizes his arm has already fallen. Gongyu responds, this is all because you're a solitary prisoner. Now, I really want to shut your mouth. We see that Gongyu is holding a katana made of his energy, very stylish. You don't have time to hit me with your ability, do you? Let me ask you something before I die. Do you still remember the people you killed? Gongyu responds, no, it's not worth remembering, especially trash like you. But suddenly, Gongyu is a bit stunned by what he sees. Cheek is showing Gongyu Ganyu's former companions, and that same leader is saying, Ganyu, no. It seems he was slightly affected. The prisoner, nervous and trying to avoid death, smiles and says, but you remember this, don't you? The illusions of Ganyu's companions are still trying to control him, making him not kill, but he simply starts slicing all these illusions, with no pity for these memories of his companions. The prisoner, already severely injured and missing an arm, bleeding, says, I can't believe you killed your companions without even hesitating. Ganyu responds, these are just illusions. Then he swiftly divides the prisoner in two with a quick slash. As the prisoner's body falls to the ground, Ganyu says his final words to him, by the way, I'm not a hero anymore. I'm a prison guard now. In his last moments, the prisoner says, you're not just a prison guard. You're a monster just like Sungwon Huang. Those were the prisoner's last words, and Ganyu just stares at him as he finishes speaking. Meanwhile, speaking of Huang, he is confronting another villainess. Without any resistance, she is killed. When are you going to get down here, Ganyu? If you don't come, will I be? He says, seemingly killing the villainess. Outside the prison, three people are observing from the top of a cliff. A large man, who looks like a butler, says, Miss Sinka, when are we going to start? Sinka responds, he appeared. It's him. He was in the security cameras. Where is our protagonist, dear husband? Canis, the butler, asked, Miss Sinka, wasn't your husband Sungwon Huang? Sinka confirms, yes, my husband. Canis continues, then, Miss Sinka, wasn't that the reason you started the attack? To save Mr. Huang? Kato, another woman beside them, comments, and this person you're talking about is a hero. He's meant to aid human development. Sinka responds, a hero? No, I don't see him as a hero. Do you? Canis says, but you need to choose just one of them. Sinka comments, yes, polygamy is illegal, right? Kato responds, but it's a really important question. The younger or the older? Especially since they don't get along very well, right? Or maybe only the one who survives deserves to be with me. So, who will survive? Meanwhile, Seun-jo, the commander, arrives to congratulate Ganyu. You managed to clear the first floor in an instant. The power of the prisoners will grow exponentially on each floor. So, I think it's better for you to take a break. Ganyu responds, no, I can't. I'm going now. Open the door. Seun-jo says, okay, understood. But before you go, I want to ask you a favor. On the next floor, the second underground, there are still guards sending life signals. How many guards do you think are down there? Can we get them back to their families? Seun-jo continues, all communication devices from the first underground floor down have been completely destroyed. So, I don't know the exact number of guards alive, but I'm sure there's at least one guard without legs crawling around. She continues explaining, for some reason, the communication devices on the fifth underground floor are still working. So, I'm sure someone is still alive down there, and they are screaming for help. But right behind them is Huang. At that moment, Huang uses his power and completely explodes that person, splattering blood everywhere. I make a point of showing this scene to whoever is watching from above. Ganyu says, I'm heading there. The guards on the radio say they will open the door to the first underground floor. Seun-jo says, permission granted. Opening. She speaks again to Ganyu, be careful. The power difference between the prisoners on the first underground floor and the second is that. The difference is like heaven and earth. When Ganyu opens the door, he is stunned, but not scared, because nothing scares this man. We see prisoners exchanging punches, competing fiercely. Two prisoners are in a competition, but they soon notice our protagonist's arrival and exclaim, ah, son of a. The fastest wins. Is that it? They advance with their powers against the other prisoners, who start shooting from a distance, shouting, shoot him, shoot him. I knew they'd send you eventually. The commander, Seun-jo, asks Ganyu, are you okay? But another person intervenes, you should worry about yourself first, then others. One of the prisoners, with an enhanced arm, advances towards the commander and prepares an attack. Instead, he starts strangling her, lifting her into the air. This is the chief, isn't it? A rare opportunity. Always wanted to break that arrogant face of yours. What do I do with her now? Hey, you idiots, these are the prison guards. But I got her first. When he looks back, no one responds, and he realizes they're all dead because Ganyu has already cleaned house. He tries to react. Wait, Ganyu is already on top of him, preparing a powerful punch. He smashes the prisoner with such force that pieces fly everywhere, causing everything to tremble. Even the commander falls. We see only her legs as she falls, seeing the prisoner's remains. Ganyu says, don't come down. Don't come to the second underground floor. It's too dangerous. She responds, yes, yes, understood. Calm down, Ganyu. That Tomi woman was captured. She's on the first underground floor. Ganyu simply says, I know. Meanwhile, on the first underground floor, the prisoners argue. Did you hear that sound? It sounds like a loud roar. A woman interrupts. Stop, you idiots. Do you think it will do any good up there? Do you think anyone here can face that guy? She is Tomi, a former heroine who killed 28 heroes. Do you know why villains keep being villains? Because of your lack of intelligence. A muscular prisoner approaches her and says, do you want to die now? Tomi responds, you kill me? Until today, you've only killed ordinary humans. Have you ever killed someone with special abilities? Have you ever fought any of them? For your information, I have, and that's why I'm here. Out of nowhere, the muscular prisoner begins to transform into a monstrous form. I'm going to kill someone with a a special ability right now, he says, but is instantly cut in half by Tomi's claws, which resemble a symbiote on her arm. Kill who? You're the one who's going to get killed, you idiot. She continues, when I was a hero, I captured many villains. So, I know very well how to catch a human with special abilities. With this knowledge, I killed many heroes, and now I'm going to teach you. She says this while the prisoner is split in half in front of her. If the rest of you join me, I can teach you how to hunt someone with special abilities, and most importantly, Gonyu's abilities. A prisoner asks, you know Gonyu's abilities? How do you know that? Tomi responds, you know I used to be a hero, right? I have extensive knowledge about other heroes. Another prisoner asks, and what difference does it make if you know his ability? Tomi explains, if the opponent is part of the equality or a first-class hero, it's very different from a third-class hero like you. Since Lhasa became the leader of the equality, there have been reforms in the hero industry. First, they redefined what it means to be a hero. They prevented heroes from killing villains. Then, they regulated teams formed by heroes to train with each other. And finally, the hero tiers system, from tier 1 to tier 5, was completely abolished. Why am I suddenly telling you this? Because Gonyu joined the equality as an exception when this system was abolished. They called him the parachuted hero. Some rumors said he was Lhasa's secret lover. In fact, I never saw Gonyu fight, but even so, he cleared the first floor very easily. He must be at least a tier 2 hero. The first floor only has riffraff. You should be able to handle it. We see that the average number of people murdered by these prisoners is over 1,000. Some have 2,000, and there's even a guy who killed 3,500 people. And the one who was talking, speech, killed 6,435 people. I'm not saying Gonyu is weak. He is definitely strong, but I know his weakness. So, we can definitely take him down. You know his weakness? The other prisoners ask. Hey, you guys are always in such a rush. We have other options. What are you going to do? Decide quickly. The enemy is coming, you know that, right? Some prisoners start saying, I'll join. Me too. And you, speech? Well, I'll join too. What's the plan? An explanation begins about the powers that have emerged among humans. Scholars have classified these powers into 3 major categories for research. The first is the ability to transform or enhance the body, known as the physical series of superpowers. The second is the ability to create something from nothing, known as the creation series of superpowers, and those that do not fit into either of the other 2 categories belong to the special series of superpowers. At this moment, Gonyu arrives. The prisoners start communicating telepathically. He's here. He's arrived. We see that Speech and Tomoki also have this telepathic ability, allowing them to see through the eyes of the other prisoners. This is a physical power called brainwave communication. Tomoki thinks to herself, Gonyu's power is from the same physical series as mine. She remembers getting this information when she saw Gonyu training during his hero days, training with a combat robot that didn't look easy to defeat. We return to the scene of Gonyu approaching the prisoners, and he says, put on the containment device or die. It seems someone is using an ability against Gonyu, but he doesn't even bother to dodge. Tomoki thinks, look at that, he's not even dodging. It is explained that Tomoki's plan involved using the cell doors as shields for various special ability users. Special abilities can be from the creation or special series, and she positioned these prisoners to attack Gonyu, creating a barrage of attacks against him. We see all kinds of abilities being used against Gonyu, and someone says, just like you said, he's just taking those attacks. It is explained that Tomoki vaguely knew the reason Gonyu didn't dodge these attacks was because he knew it wasn't worth the effort. Therefore, she added another layer of attack to the plan. We see Kilson tied up by several ropes. In the end, his arms are completely bound, and the guy who tied Kilson says, successfully captured. Along with these ropes, there is a superpower control device now taking effect on Gonyu. Speech says, as instructed, I gathered several of these devices here from the bodies. This is a control device for the first floor. Will it work on him? It's fine. Just use several of them. If one is for the first floor, use 10 for a second tier hero. If you use 15, it will seal the abilities of a first tier hero. Milan, who is shooting the ropes at Gonyu, has the special ability to make an object homing. For safety, let's use 30. We see Gonyu with several of these devices, one on his neck, several on his arms and leg. The prisoners say, now he's going to die. We did it, but there was a flaw in Tomoki's strategy. Gonyu simply tears off the device on his neck and snaps the rest like they were rubber bands. His malevolent aura already scares the prisoners. Her first mistake was underestimating Gonyu's strength, leaving the prisoners unable to react. Gonyu removes all the devices and simply punches the prisoners. His strength far exceeds that of a first-tier hero. Through neural communication, Speech says, all the devices are broken, and Tomoki shouts, wait, all we can hear are the desperate screams of the prisoners. The prisoners yell, initiate the next strategy. The next strategy. Tomoki and Speech also call for the next plan, which involves taking hostages. One of the prisoners grabs a guard and says, don't move or I'll kill him. We see that more than one guard is alive but being held hostage by the prisoners. Gonyu simply rains down several black lightning bolts on the prisoners, killing them without harming the guards. This was Tomoki's second mistake, thinking Gonyu's abilities were only of the physical series. series when they were also of the special series. While most of the prisoners are dead, the guards manage to survive. One of the guards comments, "I've never seen this kind of ability before." Tomoki's third and final mistake is revealed. We see some prisoners inside their cells saying, "Damn, none of the plans work." Some prisoners surrender and say, "I'll put on the device." The third mistake was underestimating Gongyu. If anyone won't respect the strategy, it's too late to make another. We see Gongyu spinning a large blade made of black lightning, creating a storm of destruction around the prisoners. He says, "Too late. Their neural communication is completely broken because everyone outside has died." Speech thinks, "Damn, what happened? He completely destroyed us. Do you have another plan, Tomoki?" She replies, No, this is impossible. Say something." "Damn, I shouldn't have trusted your words. Are you saying the containment devices didn't work? Not even 30 of them?" Speech says, "I'm going to put on the containment device myself now. I want to survive at least a bit longer." Tomoki says, "Shut up," and pierces Speech with her claws. "Who do you think you are to raise your voice to me? Do you think we're on the same level just because we're together?" She finishes off Speech. Tomoki thinks, "I have more than enough to seal a first-tier hero's ability. But if all the devices are broken, and if he really is that strong, why wasn't he fighting on the front line? Damn, this doesn't make sense." Suddenly, we see a guard trying to crawl out, trying to save himself. When Tomoki sees him, he starts screaming, "Please, someone help me. Someone save me." Tomoki is about to finish off the guard, but Gongyu appears and cuts off her hand, saving the guard at the last moment. He has a red claw, similar to hers. As the guard runs away in relief, Gongyu gives Tomoki her death sentence. "Tomoki, do you have any last words?" She responds, "I'm screwed, aren't I?" And those were Tomoki's last words. "Are these your last words? Is it true that all the heroes of equality, except for you, are dead?" "Yes." "Ah, I see. So, Tomo is dead too." Gongyu just stares at her, very serious, without saying a word. "So, she's dead. I told her not to become a hero, that foolish little sister. She never wanted to listen to me. Anyway, I can't believe you killed people while still being part of equality. Do the other heroes know about this? Do you even realize how much Lhasa tried to change the hero industry? But you're throwing away everything she worked for. Lhasa would be very sad to know this." Her last words went too far. She starts explaining that there was something wrong with the hero industry. This was the first thing Tomoki felt when she became a hero. The fact that heroes hunted villains gave them immunity, even if citizens died in the process. Heroes were above the law. The reason why Tomoki became a hero, called Bliss, was very simple. We see another person talking to Tomoki and her younger sister, Tomo. "What would I do without you, my older sister, who always helps me? You're so amazing, like a hero." Tomo, who had no superpowers, depended heavily on her sister, who did. "You're right, your sister is incredible, isn't she?" But there was something wrong in Tomoki's mind. As a hero, her job was to save people. We see a scene of her saving a civilian, but instead of feeling proud for saving someone, she did it just to feel superior, to feel bigger. Tomoki continued her activities as a hero and eventually killed a villain in one of her missions. For the first time in her life, killing gave her a very strong sense of superiority. She went crazy and became addicted to this feeling, a feeling she had never felt before. She thought killing people was very exciting. After that, she didn't stop. She killed villains, citizens, heroes, anyone who got in her way. Among these murders, her favorites were those where she killed weaker hero colleagues, loving to see the expression of surprise and the feeling of betrayal. The complete shock of being betrayed and the fear for their lives made Tomoki feel very good. She never got tired of it. But no crime goes unpunished. Tomo began to suspect Tomoki because, late at night, when she came home, Tomoki always smelled of blood. One night, she decided to follow Tomoki and was completely shocked to witness a massacre committed by her older sister. "Sister, Tomo, I told you not to go out so late." "Well, it can't be helped. Do you want to join me?" "What? If you don't want to, I'll do it alone." At that moment, chains went to Tomoki's hands. It was on that day that Tomo awakened her ability and performed her first heroic activity, the profession she would follow in the future. From that day on, Tomo became an official hero and continued to pursue her sister, who had become a villain. One day, we see Tomoki bound by Tomo's chains. "Villain Tomoki, you're under arrest. You're not calling me sister anymore? That's so sad. Your power has gotten stronger, which is why it's even more lamentable, since you're the creation type and not the physical type. Those without physical abilities are really pitiful because they can only shoot from a distance and will never understand how thrilling it is to crush heads. You'll never understand me, little sister. I never had a sister like you. Someone hold me." Tomo died without suffering. Gongyu starts to remember that battle they had against Huang when Tomo fell. Her last words were about her sister. "She died looking for you. I shouldn't have asked that. It just made me feel worse." We see Tomoki covered by a kind of suit, a symbiote adaptable to her body, a very strong physical enhancement. Tomoki charges at Gongyu without hesitation and tries to pierce his chest, but Gongyu dissipates into lightning and appears right behind her. When she realizes, it's too late because he's already on her, kicking her in the ribs and throwing her hard. But of course, it doesn't end there. Gongyu waits for the smoke to clear, and Tomoki Tomoki charges again, thirsting for more. She takes a punch to the stomach, spits blood, and becomes very weak to the point that her armor completely falls off her body. Kneeling and without her powers, she finds herself face to face with Gongyu. You're a death row prisoner, but it saddens me to know that I have to kill my teammate's family. So, could you spare me? You're a hero, didn't you promise Lausa? I'm not a hero anymore. Even so, spare me, please. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. Gongyu replies, this situation you're in now is something you've seen many times, right? And we see the various people Tomoki killed, begging for their lives. You remember, don't you? And what did you do to those people who begged back then? With tears in her eyes, Tomoki realizes she messed up. Gongyu prepares a punch to finish her off. Outside the prison, the sounds of Gonyu's battle shook the entire facility and echoed throughout the area, even reaching outside. The noise stirred various reactions. Did you hear that boom just now? It must be Gongyu. Oh my god, what should I do? I can't decide. But it also incited fear in some. What the hell is happening up there? For others, it only heightened their anticipation. Huang is all excited to face Gongyu. We see that woman still alive but very injured. This won't do. I'll have to go up now. But suddenly, he is kicked by someone and flies far with the impact. When he recovers, he sees Kingston. Are you bored, kid? Want me to play with you? A scary grandpa. Scary and kind? Kingston says, I'm a kind and friendly grandpa who loves to play with kids. Meanwhile, inside the prison, the commander and the guards are stunned. Ma'am, what happened? Take a look at the 5th basement. Kingston and Huang just met. It seems we have some good news, don't we? That means one of them will die, and I hope it's Kingston, since he's not as dangerous as Huang. But why is he keeping that woman in the air? Will you play with me, Grandpa? Of course, but now I don't want to play. I'd love to play with you. Kingston was the first criminal to be imprisoned in Lucullus. Unlike others who were jailed for killing thousands, Kingston only killed 3. His first victim was the most powerful villain of the time, Caracas. The other 2 were a famous hero duo, Clark and Hilo. Kingston appeared out of nowhere and killed the 3 most powerful people in the world. His last public statement was, I killed everyone who was considered amazing. Does that make me the strongest person in the world? How disappointing. After saying this, he voluntarily surrendered. I'm not going to kill you, so let's play a little. I don't trample the young before they can grow. Alright, Grandpa. Meanwhile, upstairs, the guards try to understand the situation. This prison here can't be destroyed even by the power of a first or second class hero. There are 20 layers of special walls. How can this place be destroyed? Back in the basement, Kingston says, let me teach you some manners. He rushes at Huang in the blink of an eye. Huang doesn't even see Kingston approaching, but suddenly he's in his face with a flying kick, causing a tremor that everyone in the prison feels, even Gongyu. Is everyone alright? Director, who won the fight? That's not the problem. We see a large hole in the wall of the 5th basement. Kingston's attack destroyed all the walls. Now, Huang observes this and comments, this guy is like a living drilling platform. How many walls did he break? This could be interesting. Maybe I should follow him. Oh no, why follow that old man? It would be more fun to stay here and chat with me, wouldn't it? The security director is shocked by this, as is Huang, who asks, who are you? You can find out more about me if we chat. Who the hell is this girl and how did she get to the 5th basement? A guard comments, astonished, what is going on? My god! Before continuing, she turns off the cameras. The director gets furious and swears again. Hey, that's cool. Meanwhile, Gongyu finds himself facing the doors to the 2nd basement. Director, I cleared the 1st basement. Please open the gates to the 2nd. Gongyu, wait! The communication starts to fail. Ah, the signal must be bad here. Gongyu starts opening the doors with his hands, simply forcing open a maximum security prison. The signal must be bad in the underground floors. Unlike the 1st floor and the 1st basement, which reeked of blood everywhere, there was no stench of anything here. In fact, there was nothing, not even a single corpse in sight. It was too clean. Then, he hears a scream. A guard is running from creatures that look like hellhounds. Stay away from me. As she runs towards Gongyu, one of the creatures is about to use an ability on her, but both are disintegrated by Gongyu. The guard kneels on the ground, weak and in shock. Are you okay? She hugs Gongyu, thinking he is her husband. Poor thing. I thought you were on the 5th basement, but what was that just now? You really had superpowers all this time? That was so amazing. Why didn't you ever tell me? I'm not Kangho. I'm his brother. What? You're Seo Gongyu? But why are you wearing his uniform? I mean, what are you doing here? You must be my brother's colleague. It's not safe here. Oh, I'm sorry about that, brother-in-law. Wait, what? Oh, it's the first time we're meeting, isn't it? I should have introduced myself. Hi, I'm your sister-in-law. Gongyu is shocked to realize that her husband is dead. Poor thing. Meanwhile, in the isolation cell on the 2nd basement, we see those same 2 weirdos who put the crowns on the prisoners. It seems there's an outsider among us, Mio, and I wonder how many sins this stranger has committed in his life. The stranger killed my dogs, Mile. That's true. So, it's simple. Let's send this stranger to hell. Back to the scene of the 2 others talking. I had only seen you in photos and videos. I'm really surprised. You're much more handsome in person. It's very nice to meet you. I'm Hong Jia, a prison officer. My brother said he had a girlfriend, but he didn't tell me anything about getting married. married. The subject is something else, isn't it? Look at my belly. Your nephew or niece is growing here. What? It's not even a month yet, so that's why I don't have a belly. We found out a few days ago, and Kang Ho said he was going to tell you about it after Huang's execution. It's really true. Is there a problem? No, there's not. He didn't have the courage to talk about it. Oh my god, what a twist of fate. But what brings you here, Hero Seo Gungyu? Did you come here to end the prisoner rebellion? And why are you here? I was commissioned as a special agent to execute the prisoners in Luculla's prison. Seriously? You're the one carrying out the executions? But why did the director send you to do that? You seem unaware of what happened. Let me quickly inform you. An outside attack occurred. They are still investigating the matter. And what about Kang Ho? He went to the 5th basement for the execution. Gungyu thinks for a long time before responding. Kang Ho, but seeing her expression, he decides not to say anything because he knows his brother is already dead, even without having seen the body. Someone is sending rescue signals from the 5th basement. I'm so relieved to hear that. It's dangerous here, so go up. Let me take you upstairs. No, I'll stay. I can make it easier for you to go down. You'll need my help. What makes you say that? I have the ability to read a person's memory just by looking at them. My superpower is of a special type, psychometry. But don't worry, I haven't read your thoughts. I only do it when I have a good reason. I use my ability to provide psychiatric help and psychotherapy to the prisoners to know if they are really guilty or not. And how will that help me? The entire 2nd basement has been taken over. This whole floor is under the mental control of Miel and Mael, the prisoners in the isolation cell. Both siblings have special and creation type superpowers. They have the special ability to summon creatures, and when these creatures pierce someone's heart, they can turn those people into their puppets. Currently, all the prisoners on the 2nd basement floor are under their control. I know about their superpowers because they are disciples of the wizard, and we know that the wizard was one of the participants in Equality, that hero. I don't need information about them, so please go back upstairs. No, because some of the puppets are prison officers. You won't be able to distinguish the guards from the prisoners because they've been turned into puppets too, but I can differentiate them by scanning their memories. But if they've been turned into puppets, aren't they already dead? What's the point of distinguishing them? No, they're still alive. They'll return to consciousness once freed from the siblings' power, but there's no way the siblings will do that. Let me try. I might be able to convince them. That's not safe. Think about the baby. Before being a mother, I'm a prison officer. I must fulfill my duty. Gongyu remembers his brother, who always did everything right and fulfilled his duty. Okay, I understand. He uses his power around her, and Hong Jia begins to levitate, surrounded by a bubble of Gongyu's power. What is this? This is my power. It will keep you safe, but this won't affect my body, right? He ignores her as they walk through the 2nd basement. They encounter the first puppets. This is Miel's power, the older brother. More officers were captured by Miel than by Mael, so keep that in mind. Among them, which are the officers? Wait a moment. She begins using her psychometry. There, the two in the back. Separate them and then do what you need to do. What's happening? I can't see. The bubble starts to close. Gongyu, what are you doing? It gets to a point where Gongyu can no longer hear her. There's a much easier way. The officers will be spared. He ties up the officers, and one of the creatures takes the opportunity to attack Gongyu, but he crushes its head with a punch. The prisoners will be killed. That's the easiest way to separate the two groups. As more creatures advance, Gongyu destroys them with punches and kicks. He unleashes that same attack with black lightning, piercing them all. The siblings, watching through a crystal ball, see Gongyu. What do you think, brother? Is this stranger stronger than our master? Who knows? So he is stronger than that woman. Brother, I'm scared. Don't worry. They have a huge army around them. It won't be easy to kill us. Hong Jia is finally released and can breathe. What was that? Why did you trap me? Sorry if I scared you. I should have warned you beforehand. What happened? I isolated the officers and executed all the prisoners. You executed them? But the execution devices are in the 5th basement. I executed them personally. You said you executed them personally? Is there a problem with that? Whose idea was that? It was mine. And the director agreed to this? Yes, she agreed. What is that fool thinking? Is it alright for you to do this, Gongyu? I did what a prison officer has to do, and that's all. Or do you have a problem with that too? An officer's job isn't to kill prisoners. Our job is to rehabilitate them. Officers should. No thanks. I don't need sermons about ideals. They say heroes are supposed to save people and not kill them, and that people should only be sentenced by law. But I know very well what happens when you pursue nothing but ideals. They're slaughtered by beasts you can't reason with. Honestly, I don't care if I'm supposedly a hero or a prison officer. I've been fed up with all of this for a long time. Someone needs to put an end to these irrational beasts. But Gongyu, they're humans. Are you serious? What kind of crap are you talking about? What makes you think they're human? Every criminal kept below the 2nd basement is here for killing thousands of people. They all deserve to die. In the past, there were some debates about abolishing the death penalty due to the possibility of wrongly killing a prisoner, but no one was ever unjustly sentenced. Not in this prison. And I know very well that you know this better than anyone, Jia. But they all have a story, especially Miel and Mael. Jia, everyone in the world world has a story to tell, including the victims. They have stories too. Besides, what difference does it make? They'll end up dead anyway. If not by my hands, then by execution. No one person should decide who lives or dies. Stop! That's enough of this nonsense. If you keep talking rubbish, I'll send you back upstairs, and you can deal with things however you want. She is terrified. Ladies and gentlemen, I think I just soiled myself. Suddenly, we see several crowns and more puppets. Who are the guards here? Ah, the three in the back. Understood. Hong Jia looks, but she's not happy about this situation. Kang Ho will be very sad when he finds out what happened here. She's said a lot, but this drives Gong Yu insane. The puppets charge at him, and he lets one attack hit his neck only for the blade to break against the strength of his neck. He keeps hearing Jia's words replaying in his mind, driving him more and more insane. Gong Yu begins to destroy the puppets mercilessly. He thinks about all the talk about idealism, but it only angers and frustrates him further. He remembers Lhasa and her words as he pummels everything in sight. He recalls his brother's words as he faces his next victim, and Jia's words as he completely slices through a puppet in front of him. It's always easier said than done. Gong Yu enters the fifth mode and forms several spheres with his power, hitting each puppet with them. The spheres completely trap the puppets, and they all explode after being bound. At this moment, Gong Yu releases some of his frustrations, and a rain of blood falls on him, killing all the prisoners. Meanwhile, the observer continues to watch Gong Yu. He keeps going, becoming more magnificent every time I look at him. In the next scene, still in the second basement, we see Gong Yu walking with Jia beside him, facing any creature that appears. They're about to confront another horde when someone interrupts them. We see the yellow crown and the red crown, and from the large doors of the isolation cell, a huge creature emerges. The siblings, Miel and Mael, appear. This is strange. You've come to meet me yourselves. Well, that saves me some work. It's a pleasure to meet you. From the outside, the creature is enormous. Miel and Mael say, why didn't you come to us, Officer Hong? If you had, you would surely have gone to heaven. Release the people from your control, and I promise to kill you quickly. Is there an option where you don't kill us? In the first basement, prisoners had the option to put suppression devices back on, but from the second basement down, everyone who has killed thousands only has death as an option. It's strange. I heard you used to work with our master, the woman who captured us, but you're very different from your colleague. I'm sure you'll go to hell. Be quiet, Mael. Well, let's see who kills first. If you promise to let us go, we'll release the people. Request denied. Jia shouts, please, don't make things worse than they already are. Put your suppression devices on. Officer Hong Jia, we did nothing to deserve a death penalty. You know that, don't you? That's why we must refuse your offer. Jia, you can't persuade them. Words are useless for beasts like them, but there are other ways. Don't worry, even beasts understand pain. Stranger, we don't want to fight you. Once you hear our story, you'll feel compelled to. Request denied. Gong Yu encloses Jia in a bubble again to stop her from speaking. Please, be quiet. Gong Yu begins to bind the siblings, who become completely tied up and unable to move. A villain once told me how to torture people, but I never knew it would be useful to me one day. You're not thinking straight. You are the beast you fear so much. No, he's not a beast. You're the monster. The siblings switch places with some prisoners, using special class superpowers. How annoying. Gong Yu explodes the two prisoners in a shower of blood. Why do these villains keep calling me a monster? He prepares to finish off more puppets, swiftly cutting all their necks. This is so irritating. Inside the cell, Miel panics. Miel, do you need help? No, everything is under control. Focus on breaking the wall. Miel is using the puppets to try to destroy the wall and escape. I'll try to distract him. A large summoning symbol appears in front of him, and several bizarre creatures with red crowns emerge. They use summoning power this time. Huh? These things aren't human, so that means I can kill them all. Gong Yu throws a punch and starts crushing each one with punches and kicks. The creatures try to hit him, but he's already in the air, preparing a devastating ability. He slashes and decapitates all the monsters. He's not calm anymore. He's furious. Miel is desperate seeing this. Miel, how much longer do you need? I need more time. 10 minutes. 10 minutes, right? I have to do this then. Miel bites her own finger to make it bleed. I'll buy more time. She uses her bloody finger on the crystal ball. Everything around them starts shaking intensely, and something falls from the ceiling. They're obviously panicking, but it's too late for any strategy or thought, because Gong Yu is already there. I thought a bit and realized that once I capture you, everything else will stop. So, there's no point in fighting all of them. This is your last chance. Release the prisoners and the guards, and in exchange, I'll kill you quickly and painlessly. Gong Yu is now surrounded by a sinister aura and charging his power. The wall is completely destroyed. Release them from your power. Miel panics and tries to use his last, strongest ability to survive. He creates large summoning symbols around them, from which the most powerful angels emerge: Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and Uriel. But Gong Yu simply slices through them without mercy. The two siblings don't know what to do anymore. Miel summons something else, taking the guards as hostages. Stay away from us. If you don't stop now, all the prison guards will die. We see that Miel is captured. I'll make sure your little sister has a very painful death. She starts being squeezed by the threads words and suffers greatly. Meal doesn't know what to do, desperate. Ganyu just stares into his soul. Meanwhile, Mile continues screaming in pain. Alright, I'll release them. I'll stop my ability, but first, I want to talk to Officer Hongjia. Release them first, or I won't stop. His little sister keeps screaming. The two siblings concentrate and undo the ability. The first to be freed are the officers, and then the prisoners. Everyone on both sides is shocked. When the prisoners start to ask questions, they don't even have time to react. Ganyu has already sliced them up. The siblings are terrified, seeing this. On the ground, only the bodies of the prisoners and the living officers remain. Are you hero Ganyu? What's going on? Return to the surface now. Yes. And everyone runs back up. I released them, so you'll keep your promise, right? I'll let you meet Jia, but first, we're going to another place. We see the sea of blood that Ganyu created. Because this sight isn't good for a pregnant woman, he finally releases Jia. She can breathe properly again. What happened? The job is done. The abilities have been stopped, and all the prison guards have been rescued. And what about Meal and Mael? Right here. They want to talk to you before the execution. Ganyu, you can still just put suppression devices on them. Don't make me repeat myself. Everyone from the second basement down has killed thousands of people, so I will kill them personally. Officer Hong, do you really think we deserve to die? We did nothing to deserve this. Please, say something. Go ahead, but be brief. Meal and Mael, what you did was, they're desperate, awaiting her judgment, but she doesn't have the courage to speak. She doesn't want to say what she knows. Okay, nothing to say then. Well, I kept my promise. Now you will be executed. No, not me. I don't want to die. Meal, please, do something. Meal tries, but Ganyu shows no mercy. He prepares a powerful punch. A huge explosion occurs when he strikes, causing a massive blast. But when he looks, he's stunned by what he sees. He sees his former partner, the wizard, who created a shield to protect the siblings. The siblings are very frightened, obviously, and Ganyu is completely shocked. What is happening here? We see a giant version of the wizard. What is this? Is this the siblings' illusion summoning ability? No, it's not that. There's no way criminals from the second basement can use defensive magic of this level. I'm sure the wizard used this ability personally, but why would he defend these people? Well, whatever. It doesn't matter if I think about it now. Ganyu easily breaks through the barrier, but more barriers and magic circles appear in front of him. You damn old man, what the hell have you done? Why are you doing this? He keeps punching and breaking all the barriers, managing to shatter countless barriers of the wizard, but more and more are created. He feels a growing unease in his chest, not understanding why this is happening. He remembers a day when he was with the entire equality team, watching the wizard playing with some children. Doesn't that old man ever get tired? This is great. Tomo, when we get married, we'll have kids, right? Why would I marry you? Oh, come on, let's go. I hate traitors like you. I never betrayed anyone. Hey, seriously, stop fighting. Guys, don't just watch from up there. Come down and play with us. The children were happy playing with the wizard, and the other equality heroes went to play with them. But Ganyu stayed under the tree. Ganyu, don't you like children? It's not that I don't like them, I just don't know how to interact with them. You can just do what your parents did when you were a child. My parents died shortly after I was born, so my only family is my brother. The wizard feels a bit embarrassed for putting Ganyu in this situation. I'm sorry about that. The wizard feels awkward, and they stare at each other. Ganyu, then you can do it with me. Try to act childlike. What? Relax. I'm just joking. It's a joke. I never thought you could make that expression, but I wasn't completely joking. If things were tough for you, you can act like a child with me. I think I'll pass on that. I don't need it. Ganyu remembers the final battle against Huang, where he sees all his comrades dead and even cries blood. The wizard is the last to speak to him. Ganyu, it's okay. It's okay. When only one barrier of the wizard remained, Ganyu stopped hitting. The wizard kept smiling with his magic, and Ganyu continued staring at him. For some reason, he releases the magic and says, Jia, can you read memories from abilities too? Yes, I can. Please, read this ability for me. I need to know what that old man was thinking when he did this. What is this? Well, this here is the memory stored in the ability. This looks pretty unpleasant. Actually, no, it looks cute. Even Jia herself is shocked when Ganyu says this. In these memories, the assassins also appear because the ability was cast over them. I didn't show this on purpose, just saying in case you doubt me. No matter what situation these assassins were in, I will still eliminate them. Alright, fine. Here it goes. Ganyu delves into the memories the wizard left stored in the ability. Everyone be silent. We are about to start the auction of ability users. This place was hell. Various people were in cages like a zoo, and Neil and Mael were in this hell at just 6 years old. The ability user auction was held in the underworld of Fallen City. It was open to the best collectors who like to collect rare abilities as a hobby. Meal and Mael were sold to this place by their own father. Among the thousands of users bought, the most popular were those with unique and special abilities, as well as those who could transform their own bodies. Summoning abilities were the most common and sold for low prices. Because of this, Meal and Mael had to hide their abilities to avoid being bought immediately. Just when they were hoping to avoid being sold, someone came to buy them. It was a woman. Ah, so these are are the children who summon an angel and a demon. Is there any specific reason you want to buy them, miss? I'm asking because we don't accept refunds. I'm just curious. I want to see what happens when you made an angel with a demon. I suppose you don't know much yet since you're so young, but you'll find out soon enough. At that moment, the roof began to tremble violently, and a massive explosion hit the place. A giant meteor struck the entire city. Everything was destroyed by the meteor, but the two people talking seemed protected by some kind of magic, as were Miel and Mael, shielded by the same barrier, which appeared to be from the wizard. Everyone survived. We see a wizard with an assistant in a bunny outfit. That's magic. Wizard, you have to stop doing these things. We see that the assistant is Lipus. She is a summoning user and the wizard's assistant. What kind of lesson is this? How am I supposed to do what you just did? Lipus, if you train hard, you'll be able to do it. Haven't I told you that creativity is your secret weapon? But you're teaching too quickly. Did you complete the task I assigned? Yes, I transported all the people participating in the auction and freed all those who were captured. We should move on to the next lesson then. My god, what kind of lesson is this? How am I supposed to summon such a big meteor? Suddenly, someone catches their attention. It's Miel, and he says, "Can you take us too, sir? You're a summoning user, right? We're summoning users too." No, no, no. He promised that only I would be his apprentice. I never made such a promise. What? Show your abilities. Oh, you liar. Miel summons an angel, and Mael summons a demon. What? These summons are pretty unusual for children. Kids usually summon a toy or a dog. The wizard thinks to himself, they've piqued my interest. Alright, follow me. I'll teach you magic. For 3 years, the wizard taught Miel and Mael how summoning power works. Imagination is the most important weapon for summoning users. The image you have in mind will appear through your ability. Miel, if you summon an angel, you must have thought of your mother who protected you both. Mael, you summon a demon, probably thinking of your abusive father. If you can see the world from a broader perspective, you will be able to summon unimaginable things. Well, there's no problem focusing on just one thing. Meteors are the best, like that bunny over there. I'm curious about which direction you'll take. We're very interested in heaven and hell. Heaven and hell? You two are nothing like other children. Our mother told us before she died, a kind person will go to heaven, and a wicked person will go to hell. We held on to those words for support. We want to make the world a just place where good people go to heaven and bad ones go to hell. I'm sure you'll be able to do that because you two are kinder than anyone else. Then, one day, Wizard, the Hero Association issued a call for help. They urgently need our assistance. The association? They ignored my proposal, and now they want my help? A suite appeared in Finland. What? The heroes need to be mobilized immediately. What are they doing? I have no idea. A suite is a very powerful villain. Please bring Miel and Mael here. Oh, are you leaving? No, I don't want you to go. When will you be back? The opponent this time is very strong. I think it will take a few years. Can't we go with you? You and Mael. The opponent is too dangerous. I can't let you both come with me. I don't want you to go away. I don't want to be abandoned again. Abandoned? You are not objects, Miel and Mael. This is my farewell gift to you. They were given the ability that protected them in uniforms. The symbol of my ability is on your clothes, so if you go to a shelter, the people there will take care of you. We will meet again someday. Until then, children, grow up to be kind people. After parting with the wizard, Miel and Mael did not go to a shelter, fearing to meet new people. They isolated themselves in the mountains and began to practice their abilities. They kept thinking about what kind of abilities they wanted to develop to become kind people. They needed this until they could meet the wizard again. They were on the verge of understanding what was good and evil. They didn't know what to do with their abilities. 2 years later, Miel and Mael decided on their own what was good and what was evil. They went straight to their hometown. Good people go to heaven, bad people go to hell. They imprisoned several people as puppets and began to create their own heaven and hell as they imagined. They tried to create a utopia that did not exist. I hope you enjoyed this work. It was a story with a much heavier environment and atmosphere than the others, but I really like narrating these that have destruction all around. I hope you like it too. I'm always reading the comments, so that's it. The comment that will get a heart this time will be anti-hero, because our protagonist is an anti-hero, right? For heaven's sake, with all the people he's killing, he's an anti-hero. Thank you very much for watching until here. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, check out the other videos, and that's it. I'll stop here. Bye!